I learned that the reason I became a people pleaser at my whole life is because my biological father wasn't in my life, and that caused me to seek validation from others, and that caused me to want to be agreeable to everybody and to people that I didn't necessarily need to be agreeable to. So to not have your biological father in your life telling you that they're proud of you, or telling you that you're doing a great job, or I'm proud of the man that you become, like those things right there are extremely important for children in general, but especially for a young boy. So if a young boy doesn't have that, then he grows up seeking that validation from outside sources, right? Especially like friends in the neighborhood, or other young men that he's around.
You become very easily influenced.
Easily influenced, and you become a target for society, right? People see that you're vulnerable or you're weak in a certain area, and they target you, right? And that's how you see these young men that become lost, right? They get involved in gangs, they get involved in drugs, or whatever the case may be, because they're seeking that validation. They want to feel a part of something,
Yeah.
right? They want to feel like they belong. I want to go back to the initial question that I asked. So the reason that I posed that question that way is because I believe that there is a difference when it comes to advice, when it comes to lessons, and when it comes to information. So what I was speaking with the gentleman about is I was telling them, we had a gathering, we had a get together, and we were having this discussion, and I was letting them know that, listen, I don't consider somebody giving me good information about a thing that they haven't experienced themselves. I don't believe that to be advice, right? I believe that to be just information, okay? If you're giving information about something that you haven't personally experienced, that is not advice, that's just information. Now, if you give information about something that you've personally experienced and that you've personally went through, then I'm going to take that as advice. Why? Because you've been there before. You're speaking from a place of experience. Now, also, if you're giving me information about something that you have been through and how it negatively affected you, I'm not going to take that as advice. I'm going to take that as a lesson. You say, well, how is that a lesson? It's a lesson because you did a certain thing, it produced a result that you didn't want, and you learned a lesson from that, right? You seen that it produced something that you didn't want, so you're sharing that with me. Well, now, instead of me going and doing that same thing and getting that same result that we both didn't want, I'd rather just take the lesson that you learned, and I learned that lesson myself, and consider that a lesson learned. Okay? So that's why I say there's a difference, for me, there's a difference between advice, information, and lessons. Okay? But I'm always going to be open and receptive to any information that somebody's willing to give me.
Yeah.
Right? If it's, something that could possibly benefit me in some way, which is all information, it can possibly benefit me in some way, I'm going to listen, right? If you got something to share, I'll listen. I'm going to take the best and leave the rest. All right? I'm not going to listen to, I'm not going to, listen to all your information and try to apply it to my life. But I'm going to take the good things that I feel like I could benefit from, and then, extract the lessons, extract the advice, and, extract the information, and then, piece it together and do as I please with it. So what I would say to our viewing audience is always lend an ear to somebody who's willing to share information with you. But just make sure that you're careful about the information that you're applying as advice, lessons, or information. Tag.
Okay, so this is what I was saying because I had lost my train of thought for a second. I was going to say also too, I am one of those people that I don't necessarily have to have went through something that someone went through to be able to give them information and to advise them, because I don't know if y'all know this, but you don't have wisdom just because you're older. Like, wisdom doesn't come with age always. Wisdom comes with your life experiences, what you've been through, what you've seen. So, for example, I have personally never been in an abusive relationship because God help the person that feel like they could ever put their hands on me and say they love me. However, I've been in a situation to where I've seen my mother go through relationships and been in abusive relationships and know what to accept and what not to accept. I learned from her life lesson, but I never had to go through it. So I have that information. And that's the same with a lot of things, I'm able to, certain friends that've been in an abusive relationship. I'm that person that literally can speak to them as if I walked in that, I've walked in their shoes. You get what I'm saying? Because God has given me that wisdom. God has given me that, ability to be able to speak life into someone, not necessarily based off of me walking in their exact situation, but me being able to learn a lesson and get information and help those that are going through it. Same with single mothers and women that don't have support systems. I've seen it growing up. So although I haven't walked in the shoes or will not walk in the shoes of being a single mother, I get it. I respect it. I can still advise, encourage, or help mothers out because I know someone that has been a single mother.
Secondhand experience.
Secondhand experience.
Secondhand experience. Yeah.
It's sometimes the best experience because sometimes when you walk through that situation, you don't get what you're supposed to learn out of that lesson or out of that situation. I mean, you don't get what you're supposed to learn out of that life, situation until years down the road. It's certain things that I went through as a child. 10, 15 years later, I'm just now realizing, that's why I went through that.
Yeah.
That's why I am the way I am because of this happened, and I have to maneuver it this way. So that's what I have to say about that. Like sometimes, don't necessarily because someone hasn't, just because you have never been poor or never had to, sleep in a car, doesn't mean that you can't give somebody advice on, being poor, being homeless, because maybe you saw someone go through that, or maybe, you've experienced somebody close to you going through that. So you took what they went through, observed it, got that information and adapted and like made sure like, well, look, I saw them doing it like this, that didn't work out for them.
Right.
So that's pretty much what I had to say about the situation. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm out of breath. My son is literally on my lungs.
Y'all excuse my baby. You can see that she's with child.
It's real bad.
Yeah. So, listen, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. That's the message we wanted to send this week. I hope it's a blessing to you. Y'all like, comment, subscribe, share.
I got one more question for you.
She got one more question for me after we doing our outro.
Yeah.
So let me retract the outro.
What's the question? In the comment section, I want everybody to say happy birthday to my baby because his birthday is tomorrow.
Tomorrow my birthday, y'all.
And he gonna be 25. Ow.
I'm gonna be 20. I'm gonna be 25.
25. Ow.
Ow.
Ow. Don't blame him. Don't blame him.
Is that the question?
Oh, how you feel about to be 25?
Well, I'm ecstatic.
What did you learn from being 28?
I learned from being 28. You really want to know?
Yeah.
I learned that the reason I became a people pleaser at my whole life is because my biological father wasn't in my life, and that caused me to seek validation from others, and that caused me to want to be agreeable to everybody and to people that I didn't necessarily need to be agreeable to. That was the biggest lesson that I learned at age 28.
What made you realize that?
I don't know. I think I just had an epiphany.
Do you think it was like a part of like empathing?
Probably.
Because you thought more about it. I was about to say before then, I don't feel like you necessarily like brought him up or thought about it as much.
I didn't bring him up as much or think about him as much. And I also didn't link me being a people pleaser to not having my biological father in my life. I didn't really see the connection.
Yeah. But I think we teeter-totter like on that topic, just talking in general. Because I remember us like just strictly having that conversation. Like, I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily say that I didn't have a father, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't necessarily have a present father. Like I
Mm-hmm.
had a pastor, I didn't have a father.
Right, right.
So that was like a result of a lot of things in my life of wanting, the approval of men or the
Mm-hmm.
approval of other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think you went down like the road of like, well, like, yeah, it's a lot of stuff I don't necessarily like remember about my childhood,
Mm-hmm.
but you think it like that you came across that like when he passed away.
Yeah, possibly. Possibly. I think,
Because even closer to his passing, you like you brought him up a lot.
yeah, I think that does play a part. I also think that listening to E.T., the hip hop preacher, shout out to E.T.
Do do
Um,
sponsor
he
it.
he 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 really he really mentioned some things about the importance of fatherhood and the importance of having your biological father in your life, and him being somebody who didn't have his biological father in his life. He has a similar story,
Mhm.
as opposed to people, as in support of people pleasing that I do. Just wanting to be affirmed. You know what I mean? Because if you don't listen, if you don't have your biological father in your life, you're missing that male figure in your life to tell you that they're proud of you. And for a man, that's extremely important. Like my mom telling me she's proud of me is like, it's like, but that's my mom. You know what I mean? She's gonna say that regardless of what I got going. I could be locked up. My mom would tell me she's proud of me.
Not that woman.
You know what I mean? But I'm just
She
saying,
might.
just like your mom is gonna ride with you
She's
till
not
the
gonna
wheels
lie to
fall off.
you. Yeah.
Like that's your mom. Like you expect that from your mom.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it any less valuable. You just sort of expect it. Like that's mom. She's gonna.
Always
But
be there.
you know what I mean? But for a father, it's a little different. Like the relationship is a little different. Like you know when you disappoint your father, or you know when you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing because your dad gonna let you know. Like your father's gonna let you know. That's his responsibility as a father. It's like, listen, you ain't acting right.
It's
You
a
ain't doing what you're
sternness
supposed to be
behind
doing.
it.
Yeah, like he's the enforcer. He's the one that brings structure and discipline and order. So you know that you're gonna get that correction from your father. So to not have your biological father in your life telling you that they're proud of you, or
Mm-hmm.
telling you that you're doing a great job, or I'm proud of the man that you become, like those things right there are extremely important for children in general, but especially for a young boy.
Mm-hmm.
So if a young boy doesn't have that, then he grows up seeking that validation from outside sources,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially like friends in the neighborhood, or other young men that he's
You
around.
become very easily influenced.
Easily influenced, and you become a target for society, right? People see that you're vulnerable or you're weak in a certain area, and
Mm-hmm.
they target you, right? And that's how you see these young men that become lost, right? They get involved in gangs, they get involved in drugs, or whatever the case may be, because they're seeking that validation. They want to feel a part of something,
Yeah.
right? They want to feel like they
They're
they
doing some
belong. You
good.
know what I mean? Like I'm somebody, right? That's what they
Mm-hmm.
want to feel like. So thankfully, I never took that path because I just wasn't.
You
I had a
learn.
sense of who I was always because my mom instilled in me that I was a leader, right? And I wasn't a follower. Like she always told me that, and she always told me to like be a light, right? I remember every time I left the house, my mother would tell me, "Be a light, right? Be a light, be a light." I never really understood what it meant until I got older and I started reading the word. And I understood that, oh, we are supposed to be the lights of the world, right? We're supposed to be the ones that, bring that joy and that love of Christ to the world, right? And represent for the kingdom of God. So anyway, I went on a tangent,
It's okay.
but it was a necessary tangent,
Yeah.
and that was deep. So yeah, that was the biggest lesson that I learned in at age 28. So I'm looking forward to age 20,
25.
25, and
Um,
it's going to be an excellent year. So I want to thank my bride here. I want to publicly apologize to my bride
wow.
because I learned something from Minister Louis Farrakhan. Shout out to Minister Louis Farrakhan. Um,
Shout out.
I don't discriminate about anybody's God concept. Okay, so Minister Louis Farrakhan is a Muslim. He identifies as a Muslim. Shout out to my brother. Right, he has his own God concept. which is perfectly okay. Much love to him. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Minister Louis Farrakhan said that real love is anticipating someone's need and fulfilling it. So that's what real love is. So fellas, you ever wonder why when your wife tells you or asks for something or doesn't ask for something and then she's upset why you didn't do what she didn't ask for, right? And then your response is, "Well, I'm not a mind reader." Okay, well here hey, that's a part of love. A part of love is anticipating the need and fulfilling it before there's even a question asked. Okay, so I wanted to apologize to my bride. I'll do better, I promise.
Just saying it.
No, I'll do better in fulfilling the need before you gotta ask for it.
Okay.
So you don't have to say, why should I have to ask you?
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't have to ask me. I should know.
Oh,
So I
okay.
wanted to say that on camera. This is not edited, okay? This is like the first take. All right. So
This first take.
yeah. So we love y'all.
But
We
it's a
appreciate
learning process. Like marriage relationships is a learning process.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like
I'm still learning.
we love it growing.
I'm still wet behind the ears in this whole marriage thing.
A little milk behind your ears.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a little moist. It might leak.
Thank you, babe.
You
That means a lot because that triggers me when you say that.
But when I be like,
I'm not a mind reader. I can't read your mind.
Yeah, I apologize.
It's okay. We got this. Found it.
We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe.
Turn on post notifications so you notify every single time we post. Follow us on social media.
Share with your best friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
We're
to
back.
Tell a friend. And we'll see y'all next week. The love for your hearts, family.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace and blessings.